first thing I did before the restrictions were imposed was to go to a yoga class in my local village hall. And the thing that struck me as I was up there was the impact that this was going to have on the village halls and community centres, and the impact it's going to have on their income. I'm starting me thinking that we need to make sure that we're really on top of charity governance at this time, that we can't just sit back. As trustees, we're holding the resources of that charity in trust, whether it be money, property or land, and we can't afford to sit back during the shutdown, but we need to keep well on top of things. So what do you need to consider? Firstly, are any significant members of your committee or board key workers and therefore likely to be working long shifts and getting very tired? And I think this is a time when trustees need to become more involved. And I've always thought that all trustee boards should be constantly thinking about how they fully involve new members, which means at a time like this, they're in a position to take on a fuller role. And similarly with the chair and the vice chair is not just there to step in when there's a chair's missing, but they should be working together all the time so that the vice chair can move in and take over at a time like this. So think about who you can involve and what they can do. The second issue is cheque signatories. For those that are still using chequebooks, and I guess there will be still quite a lot, unless you've got two signatories in the same household, which is never a good idea, you'll need to get cheques co-signed. And of course you can't visit each other at the moment. So talk to your bank about whether you can set up electronic banking. They're actually being very helpful in that sense at the moment. I think they're quite keen on you doing it. It's just a matter of you getting through to them on the phone. Some branches are still open for limited hours. Use the postal service. That is actually still working very effectively. I'm quite impressed with it to get checks sent around. Or think about ways of doing this while at your daily walk without contravening restrictions. A lot of people do have boxes at the end of their drives. And talk to your creditors. You know, if you have got a bill owed, give them a ring and say, we're just struggling at the moment to get a cheque to you, but we will do as soon as we can. I think people are much happier for you to ring them and talk to them than for you to leave it. The other thing is, have you got the power in your governing document to hold phone or video meetings? The Charity Commission is advising you to check your constitution and see if you can amend it yourselves to make these changes about how and when meetings are held. And if there isn't such a clause and you do hold a meeting in this way, make sure that you get that decision recorded and that you've done it to demonstrate good governance. And then you're covered in the future should somebody come back and challenge a decision. The other issue that might be coming up at the moment is your AGM. Is it due during this period? Check your constitution and see what leeway there is. It may be that you don't have to hold it just yet and you can defer. If you do have to cancel or postpone it, you need to record that and why, and especially if it's going to make it difficult to finalise your annual report and accounts. It is still important to get your annual reports to the Charity Commission on time, but if there are any problems, let them know. They are actually being quite understanding at the moment. I think they've got to be, haven't they? But they are making lots of effort. And then finally, you might be facing financial difficulties once the world opens up again. So you might need to rethink your priorities in terms of expenditure and possibly draw on reserves. And that is what they're for, to cover you in a period like this. Look carefully at restricted funds and whether those restrictions may be eased, and make sure you get advice and record it. Talk to your funders, but they're probably quite willing to be flexible at the moment. And finally, have a look at the Charity Commission website. They're issuing regular guidance and it is very helpful and it's quite easy to digest. So thank you for listening. Hope all goes well during this time. There's a lot more information online, so keep looking at it and keep on top of things.